Students, welcome. In this session, we'll see about constraints. Let's see what is data constraints. Oracle permits data constraints to be attached to a column via SQL syntax that checks the data for integrity prior to storage. That is, constraints are a kind of restrictions that a data should abide by. If it abides, then only the data is inserted into the table. Otherwise, the data is not inserted. That is, if the data passes this check, that is constraint check, is stored in the table column, else the data is rejected. Even if a single column of the record being entered into a table fails a constraint, then the entire record is rejected and is not stored in the table. That is to say, if you are entering a tuple or a row in a table, if one column, the data which has to go into one column, even if that fails, then the entire record is, or the entire tuple is not inserted into the table, right? Then both create table and alter table SQL verbs can be used to write SQL syntaxes that attach constraints to the table column. That is to say, create table and alter table can be used through which we can attach a constraint to a table column. This database server uses the constraints to prevent invalid data entry into the table. That is to say, like there is an age column. Age has to be always more than 0. If a user is trying to enter minus values, then that should not be entered. Thus, to prevent these kind of invalid data entry into the table, we can use constraint and say that in the age column only the data which is more than 0 should be entered, right? Let us see types of constraints. Input-output constraint. In that, you will get a primary key constraint, foreign key constraint, unique key constraint. Whereas business rule constraints, within that, you will get a check constraint, not null constraint. So let us see each one of them. Primary key constraint. This defines a column or a series of columns that uniquely identify a given row in the table. Right? It means that the values that we enter in a column, that is primary key constraint, should always be unique, so that these values would identify each tuple or each row or each record. Right? So the primary key constraint defines a column or a series of columns that uniquely identify a given row in the table. When multiple columns are used as a primary key, they are called as a composite key. This one you already know. Any column that is defined as a primary key column is automatically set with a not null status. Clear? Let's see foreign key constraints. Foreign key constraint is a column whose values are derived from the primary key or the unique key of some other table. Since this foreign key is derived from the primary key values, the values that you want to put in the foreign key column must be any of the values present in the primary key. If you are entering any key which is not in the primary key in the foreign key column, then it won't accept. Right? The foreign key constraint is forced to enforce a relationship between two tables. A table in which foreign key is defined is called as a foreign table or a detailed table. The table that defines primary key or unique key and is referenced by the foreign key is called as a primary table or a master table. The master table can be referenced in the foreign key definition by using the clause references table name dot column name when defining the foreign key column attributes, the detailed table. That is to say, you have to use the keyword references. So it has to refer a primary key, right? So this table has to be a primary table or a master table, and this column name has to be a primary key column, right? Let's see unique key constraint. as the name suggests, unique key will not allow any duplicate values. All values has to be unique in that column. A unique constraint defines a column or a series of columns that must be unique in values. Check constraint. Business rule validation can be applied to a table column by using check constraint. Check constraints must be specified as a logical expression that evaluates either to true or false. Right? Once defined, the database will only insert a new row or update an existing row if the new value satisfies the check constraint. The check constraint is used to ensure data quality. Let's take an example. Let's assume you are trying to create a customers table. So you'll use a SQL query, create table name, that is customers. You are trying to have a first column as a ID, and the values that go into that ID are integer values, and they should not be null. Name is a variable character and it also not null. Age of type integer and it's also not null, and you are using a check constraint here, that is to say the age has to be greater than 18. Right? Then the primary key in this is ID. So it says that the check constraint here trying to say that if the age is more than 18, then only that customer tuple or a row has to be inserted in the customers table. If the age of the customer is not more than 18, that record would not be inserted into the customers table. The check constraint takes substantially longer to execute as compared to not null, primary key, foreign key or unique key, because it has to execute the expression and then evaluate it true or false. If it's true, then only it will insert the values, otherwise it won't insert the value or a row into the table. Right? Let us see not null constraint. The not null column constraint ensures that table column cannot be left empty. As the name suggests, not null means the column should not be null, so it should not be left empty. Something has to be there in that column. So when a column is defined as a not null, then that column becomes a mandatory column to fill in. Right? You cannot keep it blank. Whenever you are trying to insert a row, that column has to contain some value. It cannot be left empty. The not null constraint can only be applied at a column level. Let's see an examples on the constraints. Consider these two tables, that is GK EMP, GK employee, GK salary, that is GK SAL. So this GK emp table has three columns. One is emp ID, ename, email ID. In this emp ID is a primary key. Right? And this primary key is referenced in the GK salary table. So this will become a foreign key, because foreign key is referencing the primary key. Right? So whatever the values are there in the emp ID, either of one should be there in the this EID. When you're trying to insert any other EID which is not there in the emp ID, to throw an error. Right? Whatever the emp ID is present, among them one has to be taken into account and has to be entered here. Right? Hope you understood this. So to create this GK emp table, create table GK emp ID number of 3. So 3 digits can be there. There is a primary key and the ename varchar 20, not null. The name should be there always. We should only kept empty. Right? Email ID varchar 15, and it has to be unique. There cannot be any duplicates in the email ID. Each person has to have different email IDs which are entered into this GKM table. Right? Then to create this GK salary table, create table GK sal EID is number 3. References GKM tables, temp ID, right? Then e-salary of number 5. So salary has to be of 5 digit. Check e-sal between 5,000 and 90,000. Here, this check, what happens is that once you are trying to insert a row into this GK salary, it will check the EID that you are trying to enter for a row is present in this GK tables emp IDs or not. Only if it present in the emp ID column of GK emp, then only it will allow to insert that EID into the GK sal tables EID. Then also it checks whatever the salary that is entered for this any of the EIDs has to be between 5,000 to 90,000. It cannot be less than 5,000. It cannot be more than 90,000. Right? It will check that, and only if this condition is satisfied, the value is inserted into this GK salary table. Right? Thank you.